Hey everyone, my name is Lamont Gilchrist, LG, www, LG Fitness Messiah is my webpage. I'm going to touch on a little subject today to kind of continue what we've been talking about being in shape and overall health and being healthy. On my webpage, go to my webpage, I have a breakdown of rep, regiment, training styles when you're training into rep regiments and different things and stuff like that. I'm just going to be straight up front and say there is a lot of different ways to train. You know, I do CrossFit, I do overload, I do band training for strength, I do calisthenics, I do aerobic training, so there are so many different ways of training, so many different ways of lifting weights. I've lifted weights for over 20 years, you know, just to be real with you, and I've been trained by some of the greatest strength coaches, and got to learn and got to go down and work where I worked. Got to go down when I lived in Lincoln with a buddy of mine who played at Nebraska with Boyd Epley, and did some testing and some other things to work with some of those guys. I've trained with some of the best bodybuilders around the country, some of the great powerlifter world records holders here. I've so I have a vast knowledge about training, and I've pushed my body in all kinds of conditionings to be a bodybuilder or athlete and everything else like that. So it's very hard and it's very complex. The first thing I'm going to talk about with training is my number one rule in training. Turn this down a little bit. Don't want anyone to be distracted. My number one rule in training is technique. Technique is exactly what it is. It's the technical part of the training. It's what holds everything together. It's what gets you to the proper muscle, or gets you to the proper angle at the muscle, or the proper form, or the proper anything. Anyone can lift a weight. Not everyone can lift a weight technically sound to where they're actually building their body. Anyone can lift things and push weights around and stuff and things of that particular nature. Not everyone has sound technique when it comes to lifting or performing particular lifts. And that's something that you have to practice. You almost, and I do have, and I'm going to be honest about to most people, if you're a beginner lifter, or even if you're an advanced lifter, you probably need to go to a technique coach like myself or like someone to just take a look at you. They have an eye, or it's just like someone who can see a great dancer or someone who can see a great ballerina. They have an eye for the movement and the biomechanics, the movement patterns that you're moving in, the different planes that you're moving, especially if they're a good technical lifting coach and they understand the dynamics of the human body. And everyone has their own pattern because we have different lengths to our, tibula or fibula or femur, or you know what I'm saying, our radius is different, a different length, to our humerus, or, so we all got these different patterns. Our spines have little different tilts. Some of us have long torsos, short torsos, long legs, short legs. So your lifting pattern and your movement pattern is going to be unique to you. And that's cool because that's what makes us human. Everything that we do or that we do partake in as far as it comes to us is just unique to us, even though we try to share the experience with other people throughout the world and stuff like that, and we can come to some common ground. But our experiences and our lifting experiences are unique to us. So technically, you have to be sound. I mean, if there is anything that I would go back to for anybody and they're like, well, I'm trying to get whatever, I will say, let's see where your technique. I tell pro athletes, it's like, man, let's see your technique. Let's see how you do this. Let's see what you do technically. Because if you're not technically sound, then that's already going to tell me that you have X amount of room for improvement. Once you become technically sound, you get strong, you get to where you're going. Then there's only so much things that you can do to improve. You know, the improvements become so minute, you know, over the years that it almost seems like you're spinning your tires in mud. But then, you know, the elite athletes and the elite ones fight on. After technical, then we talk about rep range. I always hear people always say, oh, I do a lot of reps because I'm trying to get cut, or I do, you know, heavy weight because I'm trying to put on bulk. Yeah, to stimulate muscle or the muscle matrix overload for the microturns into the muscle, yeah, you do have to have a couple things happen. And weight is usually one that induces it. But you can also make yourself stronger by training the neurotransmitters that's going to your muscles, by training your central nervous system, by doing movements that you haven't done before, by implementing other ways you attack. You know, I train into muscle fibers. I train for muscle fibers. I train for the fast twitch, slow twitch muscle fibers. I train through energy sources. I train with bands. I train with overload. I got so many different training tactics. It just depends on what it is that you're trying to accomplish. So just lifting weights isn't the mechanism that gets you in shape or that gets your body to look in a particular way. Especially if you don't use the proper form and you don't know how to hit the muscle. You don't know how to create the angles on the muscle. You don't know how long the muscle should rest. You don't know how to go back into the muscle even though you already hit the muscle. You don't know when the muscle is the primary muscle being worked or the secondary muscle being worked. I mean, there's so many different components of this game. And I say if you're really serious and you're trying to get the fastest results that you want to, get someone who knows this or do the research. The research is hard because there's a lot of different things and everybody always is an advocate of their training style. My training style is that I have no training style. Whatever it is that somebody's trying to do, that's what I try to do. For myself, I train to be a warrior. I train to, if everything went chaos and there was no guns on the planet and I had to do what I had to do, I would be able to take care of myself. I mean, that's true. That's my whole training regimen. And I train to be an athlete. And as a byproduct of all that stuff, CrossFit and bodybuilding and all those things are things genetically I'm blessed and gifted to be able to compete and do because my body has that kind of genetic makeup. And I have, you know, a rare talent or an anointment or a gift to be able to put a package like that into those different type of arenas, be it that I've been blessed to be an athlete for life. But not all of us are blessed or in a high percentile or some of the best athletes on the world, or, you know, but even with that, you can go through your struggles and you can develop a nice package if you understand the training style, regimen, technique, form, breathing, when to breathe, when to hold, when to blow out, when to contract your diaphragm, when to have your lung capacity is an energy source. You know, all these things play a part into our training regimen. I was training my uncle the other day, and we've been training for years. You know, and for years I've been saying, breathe. We're going to get the rebounds in the bottom of the transition of our Smith machine squat, and we're doing it in a leg press. So I'm kind of going to explain to you what I wanted. I wanted, when he got down to the bottom, I wanted him to get a little bounce so that he stopped. I didn't want the static stop, hold, contract, and then press up. I wanted the rebound. So I wanted so you get the ligament, you get the muscle transition, trying to transition in the bottom of the movement as fast as you can, so you get the rebounds, but not bounce it off the machine. So it is the muscle that's taking the overload, that's getting the stretch reflex of the movement. And so he finally started getting it right. And then after the thing, he's like, man, my legs ain't really never felt like this. So we trained legs for years. And yeah, he has got it right sometime. But sometimes you forget how to do things. And then when you re-stimulate your muscles, you re-stimulate your body unlocks itself and be like, man, you know, you're taking me through. Basically what it is your body will adapt if you take it through the stress thresholds that it has to adapt, and it will transform to what it has to transform to. because your body ain't stupid. It ain't gonna be taking on these loads and doing these particular things and not try to adapt to make it easier for itself. That's the whole purpose of strength training, and that's how you make gains and developments and get stronger and other things, along with bands and overloads and techniques and breathing patterns, rest patterns. So I know it sounds very complex, but on my webpage, if you go there, and you probably see me posted before, I have a breakdown of rep range, what type of muscle style you're training, what I consider power training, strength conditioning training, muscle conditioning training, sports athletic training, aerobic capacity muscle training. Then I have fast twitch muscle training. I have explosive muscle training, plyometric muscle training, overload resistance muscle training with fast twitch. I got so many different flips and twists. That's how I'm able to develop different bodies and get people into optimal shape and produce great athletes, because I'm just, after so many years of flipping these scripts and doing so many things, you find out what works and what doesn't work. Then you do the research, you see what works with other people, you look at the other different research, what kind of response people are getting from these different training regiments and stuff. And then you add your own little twist on it. Just like anyone that I train, they add their own little twist on whatever it is that I teach them, because it's theirs. Once I teach it to them, it becomes theirs, and it's for them to improve or expand for their own particular body. If they have trouble and they need to get a refresher, or if they need some more science behind it, then they come to me and I help them correct the science, be it technique, form, breathing, angles. But yeah, that's how it works. So funny thing, I always see people look at me in the gym, and they look at me and they see how I train. Like, you can look at my video and see how I train. But the only reason why you can't train the way that I train, because you don't know my thought pattern inside my head. You don't know the way that I'm approaching the weight. You don't know my overall goal inside my head when I'm approaching the weight. I tell my clients is, I want you to think, be big, be powerful. These thought patterns create images in your mind that turns your body on, so that your body receive and start thinking and performing in these particular thought patterns. That's why people say that when you're training out, I know that just from athletics, from training as a defensive back, having thought patterns, envisioning the ball, seeing the break, seeing, those things, just the thought pattern or the thought of these things make you perform and react quicker, and your body will adapt through thought patterns because it's sending narrow response, because your brain is part of the whole big picture of how your body, or how you perceive yourself, or the image that your body turns into, a huge part of it. So envision yourself great. Once again, check out my webpage, www.lgfitnessmessiah.com, to see my different basic breakdown of training styles. I do get free consultations if you want to contact me. And that's just another progression, part 3. Up to now, we get into nutrition. Now we're starting to talk about actual physical activity, training styles. And I'm gonna probably make some more videos about particular reps, and at some point I might make some demonstration videos. Thanks.